Hello and welcome to AfriDominion. I'm Freeman Singyankabo. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast today. And for those of you joining us live for the first time, welcome. We are so happy and excited that you can have some time out of your busy schedule to join our program. And please be sure to subscribe to our content, whether you're watching us via radio station or listening to us via radio station, television station, or social media. We are very, very glad for the opportunity to come here and serve you guys. And we want to let you know, guys, that all that we do it in truth, love, and trust. And those are the benchmarks by which we would love each and every one of you guys to literally judge our content. We make no apologies for everything that we do, but we also acknowledge that we are not superhuman beings. We can make some mistakes, and every opportunity that we do make those mistakes, we would love for you guys to come in and say, hey, make sure that you do correct this or that and that and that. And with that in mind, guys, make sure that you know how to get in touch with us. Our main website will be the very best way to get in touch with us. That website is www.afridominion.com. www.afridominion.com. Our main email is info@afridominion.com. info@afridominion.com. Whether you're watching us via television station, radio station, or social media, that information is always there and it is always current. And with that in mind, guys, I want to give you guys a huge welcome to every single one of you guys from the global community, whether you're watching us whichever part of the world that you are in. We are super excited for the opportunity to serve you. Today we are June 30th. The month is almost over, guys, 2025, and here at our studio we are 12:08. We started off just a little bit late. We were, hashing up some technical difficulties, but nevertheless, we are very excited for the opportunity to serve you guys. Let me give a shout out to those of you guys on the on social media, whether you are on X, YouTube, Facebook, or even our newest family, TikTok. Guys, I want to give you guys a huge shout out and thank you for joining our program today. And what we want to talk about today, I literally want to jump right in it because we barely have any time to talk about all these issues, and I really want to get into it right now and give you an opportunity to also have a saying. So today we thought that we would talk about the urgent need to set up some sort of African people fiduciary framework. And those of you guys, I oftentimes don't like to use big words because sometimes it makes you feel like, man, who are you referring to? Who are you talking to? Whenever we use big words, some people are marginalized. Some people cannot follow. But to be truthful, there are times where we don't have the lower vocabulary. So it is in this spirit that I want to make sure that why do I say the African people? We need to have some sort of fiduciary services. One of the big reasons is that currently, as we speak, African people throughout, literally, whether you are on the continent, on the motherland, or outside of the continent, it seems like we are constantly being taken advantage over. And based on the way we learned back in school, any entity, be it a person or a company or an organization that provides a fiduciary service, that entails that they look after your interests first and foremost before they look after the interest of others. Hence, using the word fiduciary framework. So, African people right now on the entire continent, guys, we need a body of people, of African people, whose interest is to literally look after African people. Guys, did you just see what happened this past Friday at the White House? Did you all see what just happened this past Friday at the White House? To the Congolese people specifically, it was an usher or the beginning of the end of the 30 years old conflict, whereas more than 50 million people have died, which is fantastic, which is great. But besides the fact that they just signed those signatures, guys, what was the cost for this agreement to take effect? But also, why did this agreement take effect here in the Washington, D.C.? Do you mean to tell me that African people themselves, we do not have good people with integrity throughout the entire Africa who can get together, two brothers or sisters fighting, and sit them down without having to fly over thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away overseas to get somebody to make it happen? Young people, I wish that you could read. Most of you are not, you are not interested in reading. And it is about time that as African people, we literally start taking advantage of our true gifts that we were given. African continent and African people would never develop if we're not developing ourselves. If we have to wait for Washington to come and do it for ourselves, we are going to always be the second hand. Because Washington will always secure its first interest before your interests come over. And by the way, it could be any other entity. It just so happened that the United States took the steps to literally close the deal. But ask yourself, why only 30 years after? Why 30 years after? And I want to give you the context. So 30 years here in Washington, D.C., how many presidents has it been? If my memory serves me correct, we have at least how many presidents? We have Bill Clinton in 1994. You have George Bush Jr., who came after him. And then you have Barack Obama. And then you have Biden. And then you have Trump. 5 United States presidents. 5 different administrations. Oversaw the turmoil, oversaw the conflict, oversaw the wars. And neither one of those guys were so interested in saying, hey, you know what? Let's look after these African people. After all, they're good people. Let's help them out so that the death doesn't continue to take as many in millions. Can you just imagine if these conflicts were here in the United States? Can you just imagine if these conflicts were in Europe? For example, in UK, or in France, or in Germany. Can you just picture where for 30 straight years, millions and millions and millions of people are perishing and they're still fighting? I don't see anything like that taking place. And so this past Friday, everybody was really hot, saying, finally, peace is coming. African people, the peace brokerage, the peace deal that was signed up is not primarily in the best interest of the African people, period. We got a chance and opportunity to pull up the agreements. So much is written in it, and I encourage you guys to go there and read. Especially the younger African people. Because we are constantly being sold in numbers. We are constantly being sold into this jargon, political jargon, economic jargon. Whoever that can come in and sit down on a table, talk about you without you being there. Sign some documentation, some documents when you have no clue what's in it. Will always have an upper hand. Guys, these agreements came out of nowhere. And I'm pretty sure Uncle Joe, who's in the countryside, looking after cows, or just in the farm, has no idea what had just been signed in Washington, D.C. this past Friday. Even the bourgeois, the African bourgeois, most of them could care less what is happening in Washington so long as it doesn't touch their bottom line. So at what point, guys, do we get to say, you know what, we literally need to get it together? If our brothers and sisters are being sold publicly, in the open, isn't this called modern slavery? Literally, this is modern slavery that has been dignified. You may not see physical shackles on every single one of us. But if what we are doing to one another, whether directly or indirectly, whether ignorant or not, we have literally a responsibility as African people or African descendants to say, you know what, enough is enough. This cannot be happening in 2025 and beyond with good conscience. I was literally shocked, guys. I was literally shocked. What happened to the mother who's been raped for 30 years? What happened to the daughter who has been literally turned into a sex worker from age of 7 up until now? How are you going to literally how are you going to heal these people? What about those who lost their loved ones? There isn't anything, any provisions for them. What about these refugees? As long as we're not taking care of ourselves, if it has to come from New York, if it has to come from here in US and Washington, if it has to come from Paris, best believe, guys, it is not primarily in your best interest. And by the way, I have nothing against the United States. I have nothing against the French people or the UK breaking the best deal that that they can have. That's why they say, hey, this is democracy. If I get an upper hand, it's on you. And that's why we should never be sending people who are not representing African people. Congolese people, yes, you got the peace. Yes, maybe the bullets will stop flying. Who then has an advantage over the 20 plus trillion dollars of wealth? It certainly isn't the Congolese people. African people generally or collectively should have came. We should be literally getting together and say, hey, hold up. Why is it exactly that you have the best interest in us getting together, in us starting the fight or stopping fighting? What's in for you? What's in for you? So it was so disappointing on one side, because all these things that are happening, guys, it is like a deja vu. It continues to happen over and over and over and over again. Sadly, a lot of these leaders, when they join, when they take power, they always talk about Pan-African. They literally just do a lip service towards Pan-Africanists. But beyond that, they literally go back to whoever that helped them to reach the power. This is so upsetting on one side, but also it is almost like a wake-up call. Guys, we have to get involved in these political things. We have been taught to never mind anything political. We have been told to never read anything related to politics. We have been told that unless you are connected to some sort of powerful, powerful nation, some sort of powerful organization, you are no match. And we believe that. And we continue to believe that. At what point do you get to look after your own house? Guys, if I come in your house and I take over everything, after you have literally worked you behind to get all those things that you need, and I just come in and I take over, who's going to be the stupid one? By the way, I'm not insulting you, but I'm being literal in what I'm talking about right now. African people, we are fully aware that we are one of the wealthiest continents on planet Earth. We are fully aware that we can produce brothers and sisters who not only can generate wealth out of Africa, but we can also get it done in 2025 and beyond. Why is it that we don't see these engineers? Why is it that we don't see these political, experts? Why is it that we don't see these geniuses in all these sectors? And it has to always come from overseas. because we are still enslaved, guys, in 2025. Whether economic slavery, political slavery, social slavery, Africa is still in shackles, invisible shackles. And this is not okay, guys. Like, we literally much older to continuously accept this to happen to us. One of the reasons why this past Friday I literally held my tongue because not only I wanted to get my hands over the document and read it and get to see all the references that was actually mentioned in the documents. Do you guys know that there is, like, this particular document that was signed has so many references, literally so many references of other agreements that have been that has been literally signed but never implemented. What makes you think that this particular agreement is going to actually come through, including all those other agreements that have been partially signed all over? Guys, look who's signing the agreement. Look who's invested into this so-called agreement. It is certainly not the Uncle Joe kind of people. The worst part of it, I have not seen any representatives of the people. We're talking about the deputies. We're talking about the MPs, the people, the people's representatives, not just the government ministers. Those who literally goes in the district, those who goes in the rural area and explain what is happening. We have never heard of those kind of guys talking about, hey, you know what, in a month's time, this document is going to be signed in Washington. Do you see anything that you like as a people? Is this in our very best interest before we send those ministers to sign the document? We have never heard of it. In fact, they hid the document. They made sure that you never got a chance to see what was in it. Why? Because the minute an average person gets to see what's in the document, you're absolutely going to start making a lot of questions. You are going to question the document. And you are going to fuss about it. Do you see what is happening in Kenya right now? Young people are literally causing havoc because of the way the government is doing business there. The entire Africa is literally having a turmoil over governance. However, the West is more than okay with how Africa is being governed right now. African people themselves, we have been put into this scare basket where you gotta shut up, where you gotta literally just keep it to yourself and mind your business. All along, we're being chased out of other countries, and you're also being chased out, you're being chased out of your Africa. You notice how here, for example, they're chasing out people, especially those who don't have documentation. Yet, the United States is still going in Africa to break new deals in its own interest. And it is very aggressive because China, Russia, and a lot of the rest of these powerful nations, let me put it that way, they're all in Africa trying to literally race over resources. Yet African people are cut out, are completely cut out to reach out the opportunities, their own interests in these countries that are literally entrenched in Africa. Is that fair, guys? Is that fair? Let's put apples to apple on the table. And this is where I say that unless you serve as a fiduciary, all that is happening right now, it is simply enslavement in style. This is modern slavery in style. Because the African people are now going to be the primary beneficiaries of all of these things that is happening. We are going to be the secondary or the thirdly beneficiaries of all this that is happening. If Qatar is breaking the deal, is the one invested in the deal, do you literally believe that a Qatarian, the prince, is going to know that someone in Bukavu, Someone in Kinshasa, someone up in Bunia is having an issue. No, they are going to say, what can I potentially get out of the DRC? What can I get out of the Great Lakes region? How much can I maximize my profit out of it? They could care less the refugees. They could care less that woman who's been raped 100 times. The young daughter who has lost her mother, who has lost her father, who's all by herself on the street, fending to literally survive one night, regardless of all other horrifics that is happening to her. I don't see that usually being a concern over a lot of these wealthy people. And it is regrettable that up to this very moment, we are not mindful of that as a people. And very disappointing that the political setup that we have in Africa, we have no balls, guys. We have no balls as politicians who can stand on behalf of the people. Even if you don't have the expertise, to turn or to process a lot of these minerals or resources that we have, learn how to do it. If we keep on bragging that we have the best brilliant minds in Africa, yet these brilliant minds can produce nothing, whose joke is it? The joke is literally on Africans. What's the point of bragging that you have produced the best brilliance, the best doctors, the best masters, the best baccalaureates, but these guys can do nothing for Africans? Having a piece of paper that doesn't produce nothing, it is worse than you attempting to do something in your own small way without a degree whatsoever. And that makes me a bit angry to a certain degree. And understand me very well, when two adults are making deals, that's what they call this is the adult business. So never send a child to sit down with an adult to break a deal, because that child is going to be eaten alive. Africans, the so-called representatives, are being literally eaten alive on the table. They're being eaten as salad, as lunch, as dinner, and as dessert. They don't know how to look after their own people. They have never been trained to look after their own people. They have been trained to say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And we are so tired of these guys in 2025. So, now, let me not talk too much over this. I want to know if you guys have read the document. I pulled it up. I brought it in today because I want to just like let you guys see for a minute. I will literally scan through the document quickly. Because if you see what I see and you still don't have any problem with it, I'm just going to, we will just shut off the broadcast and go home. If you guys haven't seen what they have signed, I literally encourage you to please read the document and look and see where they literally looked after the interest of African people, and to what extent they look after the interest of African people. Let me pull up the document quickly. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I just want you guys to see what it is that we're working with as African people. Guys, can you pull up the screen, please? Congolese people, I'm happy for you, but I'm also disappointed for real. Like, I'm happy that the war is gonna be over, but I'm also disappointed that you didn't push through. You didn't look, you did not look after your own interest as Congolese people, and that is sad for me. That is really sad. Guys, put up the screen for me right quick, please, so we can look at it quickly, and then we go. Yeah, pull up the screen. Yeah, put it up. Okay, I don't know if you guys see my screen right now, but so So this is the agreement that was signed in Washington, guys, this past Friday. Peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Republic of Rwanda. First and foremost, why is it that the DRC and Rwanda are signing this peace agreement? The last time we have checked, there's no official war between Rwanda and the DRC, yet they have signed. Why is it that this is happening right now? Oh, by the way, oh guys, I am so sorry because I am being told that that the guys okay, let's fix that. There we go. I'm so sorry, guys. I am very, very, very sorry because those of you guys on TikTok, I had just been told that you couldn't see, you literally could not see the document. Okay, hopefully you can see what I'm seeing right now. Okay, so let's just scan through it right quick, guys, because unless you literally see what these guys have signed, you may not believe what I'm saying. We will scan it through and look how many references they have. They have so many other embedded documents that refer to all kinds of like agreement, either from the United Nations Security Council to some sort of Doha agreement to some sort of Angola agreement to some sort of like South Africa involvement. I mean, it's all over. And in the midst of all of that, guys, that's how an average person gets to be lost in translation. If you have like 10 cooks in the kitchen and they all try to cook omelette and every single one of them comes in and put in arms here and there, you are going to confuse as what kind of omelette that these guys are cooking. Consequently, you are going to be confused as hell. So let's see here. Let me see. Okay, the government of the DRC and Rwanda, blah, 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 reaffirm the mutual commitment. This is like the political jargon where they start basically softening you up, and before you know it, they just eat you for lunch. Acknowledging the need for negotiated political resolution rather than a military solution. Guys, African people, Rwanda does not manufacture weapons. Even though recently they say that they are creating a little bit of weapons here and there. They do not have the capacity to manufacture weapons for 30 plus years. These weapons were coming from the West. These Western nations have literally been fueling the Congolese war for the past 30 years. However, you are never going to see a single name in this document saying, hey, by the way, we know that we have literally encouraged the war. By the way, we are sorry, those 10 plus millions of people have perished. You won't see none of that. And then our African Union, man, they just like lip service representatives. There's always African Union in silent. And then there is this whole concept of FDLR. Guys, seriously speaking, these guys, the so-called FDLR, who have committed genocide 30 years after, these guys are like 50 or 60. How is it that a 60 or 70 years old soldier is going to still be fighting as a child who's 18 years old? Look in between the lines, guys. This is like the highest political I believe, in my opinion, we are just being sold in numbers. There's no way, guys, a vet who's 60 and 70 can give you money's worth 30 years, 40 years, 50 years and still take over like it is right now. But most of you guys are believing this stuff, which is so crazy. So, of course, they're going to talk about the territorial integrity and prohibition of hostilities. Say more. How many times have you heard Tshisekedi talking about, hey, we are going to literally look after the integrity of our territory? How many times did you hear of Rwanda? Rwanda is in the DRC for the past 30 years. A teeny little country in a big ass country. And yet you wonder, how is it that this little teeny country is muscling this big country as a DRC for the past 30 years? They have what, from 10 plus million to almost 100 something million of people. And yet all these 100 million, they literally are like, yes sir, yes sir. Can you just see what's wrong with that picture? Anyway, the respect of the integrity of the territorial integrity from both countries, peaceful resolution of dispute. For the past 30 years, they've never respected any sort of peaceful resolution. What makes you think that they are going to respect it right now? Prohibition of hostility acts. Parties agreed to refrain from any acts of aggression. How many aggressions have you literally counted for the past 30 years? Plenty. An average person can give you tales, accounts, they can witness to how many deaths their families have been enduring, how many rapes that their families have literally endured, how many lives lost. But none of it is in this document. And you talk about the war is over, now finally you can rest. What about reparation? What about justice for these people? Africa is the only continent where you can come in and unalive a person and get away with it. You can come in and take over a land and get away with it. You can come in and literally take over a mass territory of resources and get away with it. You can come in and set up foreign army, or also known as mercenaries, and get away with it. You can come in and set up an airplane. What do you call the landing pads for airplanes and get away with it, like an airport, a private airport. Do you know how many private airports they have in the DRC? The kind of private airports that the DRC itself cannot monitor, cannot control. Foreign countries or foreign entities, they literally come and go within the DRC, like a country inside of another country in 2025, guys, and beyond. And you're telling me that we are free as a people. Responsibility with respect to non-state armed groups. Do you know that there are more than 100 warring groups, more than 100 groups fighting? How the hell do Africans find weapons when they cannot right now afford food? When they cannot afford shoes? When they cannot dress themselves properly? But they have the latest machine gun, they have the latest bullets. Can you see what's wrong with that picture, guys? Literally. Disengagement, disarmament, and reintegration. How are you going to integrate people who've never been in military? The so-called M23. These guys are proxy military. For whatever reason, that everybody is sold on the idea. And guys, don't get me wrong. If you come in my neighborhood and you're literally muscling me, I'm gonna do whatever that I can to protect myself. And that's what they also claim. But at what point do we as Africans say, hey, what's going on there? Why is it that the civilians find it necessary to pick up arms and fight? Why is it that they're setting up government inside of other governments? If today I refuse what the United States government is preaching and I say, let me go set up my own government, can you see me living to see the day? It's impossible. But we literally support this nonsense throughout the entire Africa. And we throw billions and billions and billions of dollars over this nonsense. And we literally glamorize it to put the salt to the injury. So, guys, if you go on the internet, I'm not going to read this document, and it's not long either. I am simply showing you some of the things that you can see there and just get pissed off. Literally. Look, like for example, you see right here, there is a provision that talks about tripartite agreement on the voluntary repatriation of the Congolese and the Rwandan refugees signed in Kigali in 2010, 15 years ago. The UN has been in the DRC for the past 30-something years. Billions, if not trillions of dollars have been spent. This is literally a business guy. They are not interested in helping the people. They are interested in enriching themselves. Organizations that are helping the so-called Africans, they aim for themselves. That's why these things literally drag. Because there is so much to gain, more than closing shops. Can you imagine what's going to happen to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees if wars, if they finish wars? They are going to be out of business, which means they will have to downsize, which means that they will have to lay over people, which means that they will have to close so many bureaus that they have all over the world. And with that kind of scheme, there won't be any money being channeled back and forth. Guys, see behind what they are not showing us. And unless we do it ourselves, the game is going to continue. And the African sons and daughters, at the end of the day, are still going to be the one who are the loser. And it's regrettable because we continuously see the losing end of things, and we literally glamorize it. So guys, I'm not upset, but I'm really angry. I'm angry that in 2025 we literally continue to allow this to happen. So, which is why I literally want to ask African people, is it possible that we can set up an African people fiduciary framework, which is where this whole conversation started as I began? If we set up our own fiduciary framework, we're not even talking about that the government needs to be involved. They can be involved because after all, they are, they're the one leading these nations. But ordinary people should be the one sitting down and say, hey, by the way, up from Senegal all the way to Mogadishu, from Cairo all the way to Joburg, how can we ensure that every single African on the continent and beyond can literally live a quality life and ensure that the inheritance, the resources that we have as African benefit all these Africans equitably? And those fiduciaries will literally go country after countries after countries and ensure that, hey, what you have, what do you have as a lack? And ensure that things that all these families need are met. Africa is stinking rich. Africa can literally feed the entire world. And the resources, it is more than enough that they don't even know what to do with it. But only few countries want to dominate the entire resources for themselves. Which is why you don't see no African development firms with the sole purpose of ensuring that they enrich African people. So we gotta do something about that, guys. We literally have to do something about us as African and take care of ourselves. If we claim to be smart and if we claim to know what to do as African people, what's keeping us from actually looking beyond the borders of our thinking and say, hey, you know what, we need to change the status quo. The way we have been treated by other decision makers is not satisfactory. Let's set up everything that we believe as a lack. Let's set it up ourselves. We can do it, guys. Because remember, we claim that we are doing it in all these countries outside of Africa. How many so-called African expert in all disciplines, in all kinds of industries? If we claim to have all these experts in all kinds of industries, can we not work for our own people? There is more than enough money to pay for every single expert outside of the continent of Africa, for them to not only match their current salary, but triple it, quadruple it. But we have been taught, no, never go to develop your own countries because there's drama in your country. There's war in your country. You have dictators in your country. You've got this and you've got that and you've got that. And that's the song that has been playing like an old tape in our mind continuously. At what point are we going to own up that, hey, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me on the third time, just whoop me already. We need a whooping as Africans right now, because what's happening is not new at all. It's a repetition that has become like a song. Sorry, guys. And that repetition it's just killing brothers and sisters. And we have to literally be bold enough to say enough is enough. And that's what I'm literally just saying right now. I'm not hating on you who's doing your own business deals, but the time is coming where the kind of business deals we are going to have to put a stop to it. Guys, it's irresponsible to have a child to break a deal with an adult when that child still has yet to develop mentally, still has yet to say, hey, this is good for me, that is good for me. That's what I see right now taking place in Africa. Those who are breaking the deals on behalf of the Africans are literally children politically. They don't have the balls to look after the interests of African people. They get shaken down, and by the time they come, their tails are in between their legs. And they will usually say, well, what had happened was they were going to bomb us. What happened was, if I didn't do this, they were going to bring wars here. Do you know the kind of things that these guys have been discussing? Fear. They are driven by fear. They are driven by, hey, because this country came into it, I gotta cave in. Literally, for the past 30-something years, only when the United States came in, all of a sudden, the peace is right there. What does that suggest about the rest of Africa? Is it that you can't fight for that which is good for you? I don't think so. But you have been preconditioned to always cave in. You have been preconditioned that you are only as good as a third party certifies that you are good. Also known as modern slavery. So let's get out of this modern slavery, guys. So let me not say too much because I'm a bit heated right now. But I feel so disappointed, guys. I literally feel so disappointed of what has happened with this agreement. While some of you guys might claim that this is the best thing that could have happened, I just saw it as Africans who have been taken advantage of. Literally, that's for me. That's what I saw, and I waited to see. I've been trying to see what some of the African colleagues have been saying. Some of them have literally say yes. This is really horrible, but guess what? The rest of them, they literally pretend like they didn't even see anything that has happened because they have nothing else to say over it. And this is our lives, guys. It may not necessarily affect you right away, but best believe it is going to affect your child. If you don't have a child, it's going to affect your nephew or your niece, your grandchild, all the way to the bottom level. Because you never paid attention or you never cared enough to become curious as to, hey, what's going on in these agreements? Africa has been sold, guys. Since the 60s up until now, Africa is literally being sold every single day. It's being sold into these really glamorous looking agreements. And you are never showed those documents ahead of time. And most of them, they call them, there are some documents that they call that these are top secret. How is it that you are going to look after your own people and you call it, this is a top secret document? It's a top secret for who? Grandpa on the countryside will not send you to sign a top secret agreement on his behalf. That's not going to happen. Already he literally lets you know who's in charge of that documentation, who's in charge of those agreements. And unfortunately, we are literally still experiencing slavery. And it is about time that we say no. So guys, let me be out of here because the time is coming where I want to be mindful today, because I have been told to remember that we have so many other conversation and program coming. But guys, I feel so sad, man. I feel so sad for the Congolese people, because these Congolese brothers and sisters, man, I just say hang in there. That's all. Because you are literally being tossed like a football from left and right, up and down. Whoever that can give you the best, the best goal, they literally give you the best goal. And up to this moment, you have yet to say, hey, you know what? We don't think that that's a good deal. And regrettably, if the Congolese people don't see that the deal is whack, what about the rest of the African people? What happened to that my brother's keeper kind of concept, where you can say, hey, you are literally being, you are literally being hustled. Let me come in and help you out. We don't even have that anymore. We should be having that right now. All right. So, guys, I know that I'm a bit passionate about these things because I really care about it. I really care about this thing. And unfortunately, until you get to care about this yourselves, we are going to forever endure what we have to endure as African people until we value ourselves enough. And I truly hope that the time will come when we can say, hey, enough is enough. Enough is enough with this. Let's look after our very best interest before anything else. And I truly hope that there will be a day we get to see that. So, with that in mind, guys, let me be out of here. Let me read a few comments that you have sent, because I did see some of you guys had so much to say, and then after that, we will just close it. But please go and read the agreement that was signed by the United States, the agreement that was witnessed by the United States. It was signed between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo this past Friday. If you haven't read it, please read it, because once you see it, they always say that that the devil is in the detail, and see exactly what it is that was sold to you, or that was given as a gift to you as a people, be it the Congolese people or the African people. Guys, everybody's in for themselves nowadays, and you ought to know that, and you ought to be honest with yourselves, let alone the people that you are representing. So I hope that you can appreciate the fact that we are literally being cornered. We are literally being sold the goodies. And unfortunately, most of us, we don't even know what's being sold to us because we don't understand it from the beginning. How are you going to represent the people when you don't even understand what you are involved in? So I truly hope that the Congolese people, you can eventually find it within yourselves to look after your own people. But I also truly hope that as African people, we can ensure that we can look after the rest of our brothers and sisters all over Africa, just like it is in your own nations. So with that in mind, guys, let me be out of here. Thank you so much for those of you guys who make some comment. There is one very specific comment that says here, Freeman, our dear son, don't be despair. We have seen these trickery for decades. Unless our children wisen up, we can no longer do it ourselves because we are old. But it is the time that, you, our children, also take the baton and move forward. What we have not been able to do ourselves, you guys can do the rest of it. Yeah. I think I can relate to that. But I think we need to create an army of brothers and sisters who can actually boldly fight on behalf of African people. hence the fiduciary framework on behalf of our brothers and sisters, looking after the interests of African people where they are all over Africa. So that's it for me, guys. Let me be out of here. It is with pleasure, guys. It is with pleasure that that I'm here, that I'm speaking with you guys. But I also do love the fact that we have the opportunity to literally speak publicly like this. We have the opportunity we were given to spread our thoughts, our opinions, our conversation all over the world, be it on television, be it on the radio station, be it on these social medias. I literally welcome these opportunities. I also acknowledge that there are places where you cannot speak publicly, especially in Africa. There are certain countries that if I speak like this, I would end up in jail the same day. Countries like Rwanda right now, there are certain words that you cannot speak publicly like this and see the day. Ask the people who are rotting in jail in Rwanda right now. So with that in mind, guys, I'm Freeman Singirankabo here at AfriDominion. Allow me to wish you a beautiful day. If you're going to bed, have a beautiful evening. If you're waking up, have a fantastic super morning. And if you are on our time zone here in the United States, I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day. Until I see you again tomorrow, guys. Peace be with you. So long for now.